is January 30th, 2021. It's 12:30 p.m. I suppose it's a good time to go ahead and document. Here goes a group stalker as I cross the street. This is waiting for me to make a move, and they are in relevant position. License LA1CS80. Group stalking with FedEx as well. License plate 8MBU106. Stalking by presence, sitting in their vehicles. This is at Plum and Holt. Understand the entire route, walking from third-party facilitating venue Mercy House to where I am now, en route to the same location where the state's fake sun remains present. So my ongoing documentation of merely the identification of the vicarious acting entity, that is the people of the state of California who are group stalking in private vehicles, in commercial vehicles, and inside of third-party facilitating venues, be them private residences and or places of business. That's what I'm focused on. All the elements remain present, and that is what occurred as I'm walking down. I did go ahead and scratch down in handwriting third-party license plates, a sample of whom are engaged in systematic group stalking as they are crossing path in their vehicles, and the state is engaged in what is ongoing molestation with what is impossible light activity as its fake sun is directly over me, remaining over the same venue. I've already documented all this, the same exact pattern of conduct, while third parties are acting in concert. They're monitoring, they're engaged in molestation together. That's what FedEx is engaged in right now. And what is the outward form, which is legally irrelevant? It is delivery to apartment number 154 at Ontario Town Square apartment townhomes. Where the state's light source is present. Okay, this is license plate of FedEx that is engaging in facilitation of monitoring via light activity in relevant position under a fake sun, where impossible light activity is also molesting, the exact same pattern of conduct. License plate 7S87399 P.O.C. And it is again January 30th. I will go ahead and document the rest of this for purposes of the sample of third parties. Again, this is the ongoing documentation of the people of the state of California who are sex offenders, showing how they are engaged in the psychopath, criminal stalking and monitoring in concert and on behalf of the public entity that's stalking by plane, helicopter, police, fire, and ambulance. And this is that which is of the same exact criminal hallmarks and elements. That is light activity and relevant position. That is what I documented, and I will go ahead and document the rest of those license plates momentarily. It's 12:33 p.m. All right, I just had a note. As I walk through the, again, this is the parking lot that is shared by the Senior Center and the 150 North Apartment Homes, which is the senior housing center for, or senior housing partner. That's what I've documented that venue as online on my YouTube page. Understand, this is P.O.C. This is the ongoing presence of third parties who stalk in the parking lot while I'm sitting at the bench. And I've documented the state engaging in group stalking by helicopter, fire, ambulance, and police, as well as airplanes. This is P.O.C. They sit in this parking lot. The state amplifies their activity while they loiter in relevant positions. The state creates massive light activity through the street lamps, as I've also documented, while they sit around, sitting in their cars, stalking and touching with light. So I'm going to go ahead and document these third-party license plates that are representing third parties, the people of the state of California, who are group stalking and monitoring with that entity. That's exactly what they've been engaged in. Like I stated with regard to the state that is having a field day in helicopter and plane and train, insanity with regard to the state's engagement in criminal conduct and sexual violence. Let me get this psychopath first. Hold on. This is license plate 8JUN726. Group stalking. License plate 51554R1. And again, this is the parking lot shared by the Senior Center. The Senior Center address is located at 225 East B Street. Okay, I sit on the bench that's in between the City Center, the Senior Center, and the 280 North Lemon Apartments, where the state maintains presence with its both light and by aircraft. Okay, and that is not only with regard to the ongoing stalking by the state, and this is the state acting directly, amplifying its audible activity while it's engaged in the same stalking conduct as the people of the state of California who act as a unified group to maintain perpetual presence. 82441Z2 It's a 2014 Jeep Loretto, and it says it expires September 22nd, 2020. It is already expired then. We've got a VIN number 1C4RJEAG8EC519462. License plate 7FTG635. And like I said, when I walk through here, and especially when a phone is not on, and they know that because they're monitoring these psychopaths, and they are one group acting together, identical behavior pattern, stalk with their prey, they all sitting around in their cars, ignitions running while the state is flying over my head, and while the state is creating light activity by street lamps as I'm walking through, multiple shadows on the ground, and they're engaging in ongoing presence, group stalking. That's what it is. It's P.O.C. 5FYW628. So I'm going to go ahead and document today what I've already documented before. 8NCC552, patrolling in and out of the property of 280 North Lemon Apartments, 8RCG262. Make sure I get that, 8RCG262. Yeah. 12740V2, 3WBC474, 8SLW500. And again, that license plate that I uttered, I didn't state the type of vehicle. It's a black BMW sitting in their car. That's crossing a path. This is what third-party group stalkers do, maintain presence. Not only as a group, for example, as I'm walking down the street, they are not merely driving past. They're engaged in group stalking, maintaining perpetual presence. The same thing inside of a bathroom. They are not going in to use the bathroom. They are engaged in monitoring. You're looking at the monitoring elements, and those are third parties that are entering in. 7CNJ445. That are intentionally creating audible activity in relevant position in close quarters while the state is concentrating light, while the state is creating ongoing complementary criminal activity for monitoring purposes. And that is the ongoing pattern of conduct with regard to their real-time knowledge of what I am doing while I am doing it in any space, including the bathroom. And so this is P.O.C. 6MQP484, and that license plate, that is just an ongoing example of the same. As they sit in their cars and engage in what I've documented. So this is a malicious conduct, and this is speaking to the psychopath, and this goes to punishment with regard to their desire, their intent. Job 7, again, Job 7, 5FYW628, just sitting in their car. Same thing with Job 7, sitting in the car. 8SXY076, license plate, and they're patrolling in and out via the parking garage of 280 North Lemon Apartments, and the state is amplifying plane activity, okay? City of Ontario, they are always engaged in P.O.C, and this vehicle is parked here, so I'm going to go ahead and recite it. It is also used as a means of P.O.C while I'm sitting at the shaded area where impossible light activity molests my person, and third parties such as Ontario, City of Ontario, uses its vehicles to create light activity, and they are engaging in that which is federal group stalking and monitoring using that vehicle. That is license plate, again, 1469611. This is license 8SBY496. This is license 104 OC. Handicap 22147S1, 5MBN577, 047ZH, that's a handicap plate, 8LYM214, 8HDA745, 7CNJ445, still sitting in their car with their lights on me. They're just posted in the parking lot, entered to sit in relevant position while I walk around. That's the group stalking conduct, okay? That's a psychopath, because there is no level of normalcy with regard to being focused on an absolute stranger whom I do not know, and they engage in it through some appearance of outward conduct that is supposed to appear attached. It's the identical behavior pattern, and guess what? Under federal prosecution, it is legally irrelevant what you want to call your criminal conduct. I was picking up my grandma. You are in relevant position creating light activity, and you're facilitating the state of California's ability to monitor me via communication devices, and you also happen to do so to pick up your grandma at the same time I engage in activity on my communication device, which is the behavioral pattern, and that is how a public entity monitors you, by the way, through the people of that state. 793XB, did I read that already? 7MPL 725, 6MIR 181. Yeah, I just want to make sure I read all that. Okay. And let me tell you how else you analyze that. Oh, because there is absolutely no argument whatsoever. We are past that. I've shown you what federal group stalking and monitoring is, and I've also shown you the malicious system and what the false premises upon which that system relies upon, and what you are not focused on, which are those false premises upon which the state engages in that system. So meaning stating that you live at some place, so you're not monitoring because you live there. In other words, you belong there, is no argument for purposes of a state that is monitoring you and doing it through the people of the state of California, or stating that you work somewhere, or outwardly appearing as though you're doing anything whatsoever in relevant position, creating any manner of activity. That also happens to be the ways in which you monitor an American citizen via communication devices, which is also in conformity to the ongoing behavioral pattern of maintaining presence and coincidentally maintaining this activity creation also with simultaneity to that targeted individual's every minor movement, even that which is inaudible to the human ear. 7WKP 619. That is the absence of coincidence. That is a false premise upon which the state of California's criminal monitoring system relies. And the people of the state of California literally have no argument whatsoever. Not only are you understanding, the people of the state of California are represented by the individuals. They are one group under the monitoring system. They're one group. And that one group is both a single private individual and including any business, i.e. Stater Brothers. Stater Brothers itself is represents the people of the state of California. That business, that company, engaging in criminal facilitation, using that name, that business, the business that is engaged in inside of that venue for purposes of criminal monitoring. All right, just seamlessly including P.O.C. into what they do. All right, so as you're at the register ringing up, guess what? You're stalking with activity. You're creating any light activity, and this is based on what the target individual is doing. And you are acting in concert with third parties that surround, and you are complementing and facilitating the state of California, which is present through Stater Brothers, which is present through the employees and patrons of Stater Brothers, those who are also just stalking in relevant position around and outside of Stater Brothers. You are engaged in that, which is the presentation of a threat. So understand the company itself represents the people of the state of California. The definition of that, where a public entity is monitoring, is not limited to just an individual's name. This is how the public entity monitors. This is how it is able to work through, and it is embedded into society through any place that you go, everywhere that you are at all times. And this is the government, which is not an individual. Okay, a government is an entity, and it is working vicariously through the people individually and through the people that are representing companies, using their company vehicles, using their jobs, their titles, their uniforms, whatever it is, for purposes of criminal facilitation. And it is the same with regard to federal prosecution. And they are engaging in so under the same incredible circumstances, which prosecutes that vicarious entity acting on behalf of the state intentionally and maliciously. Okay, so this is the breakdown of that entirely false premise, and speaking to what is entirely malicious and oppressive criminal monitoring conduct while they are stalking and engaging in that which is designed to represent an unprecedented level of a criminal threat while you're monitoring. Okay, first of all, you have the government, and then you have the government operating through the people all around you. Everywhere that you go, people are going to be around. All right, so this is the system of what is criminal monitoring through communication devices, and this is why the state is engaged in that psychopath level of stalking with a literal fake sun object in the sky, which is an oxymoron, but it is a literal artificial light object in the sky that is not the sun. All right, so they can engage in picking up their granny, they can engage in delivering mail, they can engage in cooking and providing food through their drive-through, while the state is facilitating what is monitoring conduct that is occurring by their presence and activity creation. That is a prosecution of the people of the state of California. All right, and the state's ongoing stalking conduct, which is already established, this is the state's pattern of conduct. Okay, the state is the one that is practicing this satanic targeting system by communication devices in concert with the people of the state of California, and that is what prefaces the ongoing prosecution of that vicarious aspect of that entity. The people of the state of California are in the position of the government. And so every act of harassment, every act of criminal threats, every sexual molesting and touching and violation in any private space, all right, every defamatory utterance, every act of physical violation in any form, every theft of property, everything that they are doing through a third party, irrespective of the particular identity of that third party. Understand, third parties are one group, period. The state is acting directly and the state is acting vicariously. Vicariously are the third parties. Now, you can break down third parties into an individual versus what is a company, but they are all third parties. And then you can break down third parties even further. Third party insiders whose name you happen to know, but you don't really know them because you don't know that they're monitoring you until you begin documenting, and there is no discrimination with regard to the P.O.C. Every single person in relevant position is engaged in monitoring. This is how the state of California monitors you. All right, and there are third-party outsiders, which are these psychopaths and these sex offenders that I'm documenting, okay? People whose name I do not know, who are engaging in monitoring me, an American citizen, via communication devices in concert and on behalf of the state of California, that remains and continues to stalk with light, stalk with activity, and stalk directly and vicariously through each and every single last one of them. Okay, that is the significance of the criminal obstruction of justice. Criminal obstruction of justice are just acts of the state acting directly. For example, Lisa Rogan, the judge of Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, engaging in criminal defamation, that is slander and libel, and a fictitious prosecution, which is a whole other criminal act of obstruction of justice, while she is engaged in then kidnapping, which is an additional criminal act of obstruction of justice. This is that which is designed to insulate and conceal the state's criminal conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring. That's the state engaging in that. Okay, sending me to that's not a third party. That is a state facilitating venue, which is West Valley Jail. All right. Criminal defamation, placing into a mental ward upon a fictitious prosecution, upon being kidnapped by Ontario police who never had any probable cause, alleging false charges. It goes on and on and on. This is the criminal conduct of that state. This is a criminal obstruction of justice where the state is not only monitoring you, but then monitoring you as you're documenting it because you're aware. And so criminal obstruction of justice serves that criminal purpose of seeking to silence and oppress that targeted individual. This is what kidnapping does. This is what defamation does. This is what theft of property does. These are criminal acts that the state has engaged in, and I've documented it. Okay, it's the pattern of conduct. And every single last one of them engaged in the direct pattern of conduct of, if you're engaged in criminal obstruction of justice, understand you are a group stalker, you are a sex offender, you are a criminal facilitator of sexual violence of that targeted individual who's being monitored by the state. You are in that same exact boat. You are not engaged in any aspect of the pattern of conduct, and you are not engaged in monitoring. It doesn't work that way. You are engaged in criminal obstruction of justice because you are a group stalker. And you are acting directly or you are acting vicariously. Okay, so I've gone through this already, and so it's 12:48 p.m. I just wanted to go through and get those third-party license plates. Understand, as I showed in video yesterday, which was January 29th, you have a third-party group stalker that passes on bike right now as I engage in what is a change in my conversation and as I touch my phone to take a look at the screen. Understand that. That's a change in activity. That's called crossing in path. That's the stalking conduct, all right? That's a psychopath. And does so what? While they're on a bike, we're in the plaza. But guess what? They're not just on a bike. They're not just in a plaza. A fake sun is over this plaza. Okay, a fake sun remains over this plaza all day long while I'm here. The state is engaged in directing light in all manner of direction, including flashing, sparking random light coming from no place whatsoever. I mean, the state doesn't even have an argument. Literally, you have just manifestation of light appearing under the shaded walkway, like I've shown already in video. Okay, they're psychopaths, and they're engaging in this presence, maintaining presence with simultaneity to my activity, to any change thereof. That's what that is, okay? And this is what they're doing on a consistent basis while I remain here, just like I showed on video, sitting under the covered area beside the Ontario OVITT Family Library, where the state is not flying over the Laverne, not flying over what is where I've captured in video, hovering over U.S. Bank while I'm at 404 North Euclid Avenue at the bus stop where the state's fake sun was over there. The state's not flying over the Ontario Town Square. It's not flying in circles over Wells Fargo while I'm standing over there. It's not flying over the parking lot of the City Hall and Senior Center. It's not flying over B&G Plaza. It's not flying over the museum. It's flying right here over me, and doing so on a routine basis, stalking just like this third party is. That's the third party stalking vicarious conduct, and that's the state stalking directly. And that's what the state is doing, and I showed that in video. State stalking by plane, I showed it state stalking by helicopter, okay? The state is ongoing. I also referenced the state stalking by sirens as I'm walking into third party facilitating venue 150 East HOLT, where they are all engaged in P.O.C. and doing so while I'm in the bathroom. Psychopaths and sex offenders. All right. And that is the routine conduct. As I walk past and they're all lined up and they call themselves engaging in whatever legally irrelevant conduct because it's proof of presence. And that's how you prosecute, all right? Because this is also how the federal, the public entity monitors on that false premise. Okay, well, you're engaging in something else, so it's not going to be nobody stalked. No, that's not how that works. That's exactly how the malicious system by a public entity operates, all right? It is naturally embedded so that you can do whatever it is that you call yourself doing at the grocery store, at the library, at the bank, right? Even at your apartment building where you live, and engage in the pattern of conduct that is designed to monitor. While, mind you, the state is engaging in that ongoing behavioral pattern, which is already established, and third parties are mirroring that same conduct. All right. So, like I said, I documented those license plates because what they are engaged in, much like as I remain at the library, group stalkers literally hiding around, ready to engage in just that as they're riding past on their bike. It's the same thing when third-party group stalkers are driving past me as I'm sitting at the shaded area. They are literal stalkers, aware of real-time awareness of what I am doing, okay, and engaging in that ongoing presence in close quarters like that, crossing path, that's called relevant positioning, upon group stalking for purposes of criminal monitoring via communication devices, while in addition to that, the state's light source remains present. All right. This is what they are doing consistently. And understand, Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, this is ongoing while I'm sitting beside that venue. They are doing the exact same thing inside of the library, okay? And so this is that which is also a matter of documentation. The target individuals documentation that they gather, in addition to the plethora of ways in which you can document, which I have also demonstrated. And surveillance cameras at Mercy House today, and not just today, but I'm just speaking to, I am engaged in ongoing documentation in more than one form and referencing today the security cameras while the state was engaged in what is sexual violence, monitoring me inside of the bathroom, flying over while third-party group stalkers are parked in alignment to me in the bathroom, impossible light activity, meaning standing in the shade, and yet my shadow was appearing on the door. I've already documented that at Mercy House and at other venues, but that same conduct while the state's fake sound is on the opposite side of that bathroom, yet my shadow was appearing on that bathroom door while this third party is parked outside of that door, that bathroom door. And understand the third party female who is inside of the venue enters in with simultaneity to my activity on the laptop that's sitting on my lap. I'm referencing the security cameras. That is all documentation. They are monitoring. That is all that they are doing. And they are doing so systematically while outwardly appearing to be engaging in whatever it is that Mercy House calls itself doing, while it is criminally monitoring. And the state's light source is present. And the state is stalking via aircraft, okay? All the same hallmarks. And so Mercy House armed with surveillance cameras. Upon exit, the same criminal conduct, flying over an exceedingly loud volume as I exit that venue while they are on camera. That same license plate, I'm gonna go ahead and document that. And this is the ongoing sexual molestation, just ridiculous, just insane level of light, just having a field day. And this is what you document. Understand, these are only a sample of the people of the state of California. The people of the state of California, which is a new legal concept. And this is because the people are the vicarious aspect of that stalking entity that is monitoring via communication devices. So you have a public entity that is a sex offender. That's the state of California. And you have that sex offender that is acting through the people of the state of California who are not only engaged in what is sexual violence. Okay, that's the significance, the legal significance in the federal law, those are federal repercussions, but you are talking about coloring the conduct. So this is a sex offender that is engaged in ongoing threatening stalking in the shoes of the government and doing so with knowledge of the fact that they are and maliciously engaging in that conduct. Okay, so understand, what's the significance of that? They're not just engaging in P.O.C. of monitoring, they're monitoring documentation. They're intending to inflict some method, some form, some level, some degree of harm upon awareness of the legal analysis that I have applied to what is inherent to the P.O.C. All right, you're a stalker and you're touching with an instrument of criminal activity, that's sexual violence. And the state understands. So while the state is engaged in this ongoing flashing and sparking and rapid moving light all over the place at each and every time every third party is driving by. All right, this is what they're doing. This is P.O.C. But understand, it is not just that. You were talking about the level of demented and malicious conduct that is inclusive, that is necessary to engage in that. And it's the same thing with monitoring. You've got a public entity that's monitoring you, and then they're monitoring your documentation. And this is why the state becomes increasingly aggressive, stealing property, kidnapping you, engaging in fictitious prosecutions in order to take your liberty and place you and then into a mental ward upon false charges being alleged in a court in what is not even a real case. All right. But the state also did that with an actual prosecution that was entirely malicious. All right. Leonard Chang, who had no probable cause whatsoever to bring a prosecution for the same criminal allegation, which was entirely false by Jay Burnett. About obstruction of justice when he had no probable cause whatsoever. That is the same conduct upon federal group stalking and monitoring. It is the same criminal act of obstruction of justice. That was a malicious prosecution upon federal group stalking and monitoring, that which the Rancho Cucamonga court brought in, or I put that in quotations, brought on January. I wasn't even arraigned until the 17th, 2020, was a fictitious prosecution, so that is a whole other aspect of the criminal conduct. And so what I want to speak to right now, it's 12:56 p.m. And as I'm speaking to the name of Leonard Chang, a group stalker representing the District Attorney's Office of San Bernardino County, the West Valley Division, engaged in criminal obstruction of justice, acting with Prisca So. As I speak that name, understand white light flashing on this brick wall right in front of me where I'm standing under the shaded area. And if you listen in the background, the state is amplifying plane engines flying over this area. All right. And the state's fake sun, as I've already shown, is planted right over this area. All right. And behind me, as I'm facing the brick wall, is the interior of Ontario OVITT Family Library. I just want to be clear, that's P.O.C. And that is the ongoing impossible light activity, never occurring from the sun. Okay, and I've already established that the state is stalking with a light source, and that is the randomness, and that is psychopath conduct. And that light activity is what the state also molests with in concert with the people of the state of California as they're driving down the street. And this is why whatever you want to call your criminal conduct, because it's monitoring, is irrelevant. All right. You can call it whatever you want because they're not just driving down the street. They're not just entering into the bathroom. They're not just ringing up groceries. They're not just walking past. They're not just driving past. These are psychopaths and they're sex offenders. And they're doing so while aware of the fact that it is being documented. All right. So they're engaged in what is an entirely whole other level with regard to assessing it. And that is in concert with a government that is operating it. OK. The government is the one that's aiming all this light all over the place. And understand this is entirely demonic activity that the state of California is practicing with the people of that state. All right. The people of the state are facilitating it. The government is facilitating it. And it is an entire criminal system of criminal facilitation of the ongoing criminal monitoring and necessary group presence, which is group stalking, a.k.a. contract stalking, gang stalking, state organized stalking. That's what they're doing. It's a satanic system. And that is explained. That is a additional reference with regard to the state's use of this light and what I've shown. Stalking with a fake sun. That's not only demented. Okay, that's not only way outlandish and unheard of, and very, very just weird. Okay, you're talking about a whole other level of weird because it is rooted in Satanism. Okay, this treatment with light, this light all over the place, this light occurring while third parties drive past, while third parties walk past, even inside of Starbucks, while third parties would be inside acting as though they're normal. They're not. They're engaged in P.O.C. All right, state's fake sun planted over Starbucks. State aiming light inside of that Starbucks, and the state creating, this is, for example, Stater Brothers, for example, using their parking lights in that in the parking lot directly across the street, creating light activity, using the street lamps, all right? The same stuff that I've already documented, all right? This is all manner of light activity. Guess what? Third parties inside of that venue that both work there and were in there acting as though they're normal, picking up coffee, sitting around, chatting with the other group stalkers, and their phones and all over, sparking light all over the place. I documented that, okay? That's demonic conduct. And that is the character of what is demonic activity, by the way. Just to be clear, it is entirely malicious. And you are talking about not seeing something that nobody else is seeing. That's not what demonic activity is at all. Understand demonic activity is right in your face. It is not a matter of imagining it. It's a matter of being able to articulate what it is that you're looking at and being able to actually understand what it is you're looking at. Use of hazard lights, that systematic use of that by individuals and commercial vehicles while they're stalking with light, that's demonic. That's demonic activity that is inherent to the pattern of conduct for monitoring with communication devices, and it's demonic activity as well. Right? Now, that's not something that you're hallucinating. You're seeing that. Hazard lights are on pretty much every vehicle, right? It's the behavioral pattern, and it is also that which is demonic activity. It's used for a criminal purpose, and it is routinely practiced for purposes of surrounding and keeping the target individual surrounded with light. All right? That group conduct is demonic. Stalking with light is demonic. All right? Stalking with activity, literally third party. And not only am I showing how, for example, inside of Ontario OVITT Family Library, where they're using any manner of noise in order to stalk, meaning following my movement. If I engage in changing the screen on my phone or going to a different app or uploading it, they are making any kind of noise using the scanner, using the little bookshelf while they're pushing it around loudly on the floor, any manner of banging, dropping something, somebody screaming, somebody using their phone. That's called stalking with activity. Any kind of noise, anything you can hear. All right. This is also that which is engaged in with light. But I'm talking about specifically with activity right now. That's demonic. Understand that. That is entirely demonic, and it is cooperative, criminal conduct. You literally have the group that is engaging in this together. So you don't just have just one person that's doing all of this noise. It's literally like an ongoing chorus of just sharing this criminal conduct of making sure you're surrounded with light, making sure you're surrounded with activity. And this is that which is uniform. All right. Everywhere you go, whether you are inside or outside, because that's exactly what they're doing while I'm sitting outside. I showed in video yesterday, and I stated that my documentation is complete because it is, but I wanted to make sure I uploaded video of the third-party group stalker who was speaking on behalf of Mercy House, uttering threats that are audible activity while you're in relevant position is reasonably construed as a threat, and it is also that which is spoken on behalf of Mercy House, who is monitoring me, who is facilitating that monitoring conduct by that filthy beast sitting in there uttering those threats, engaged in passive-aggressive stalking and passive-aggressive threats, which I also referenced the security cameras that day when he engaged in that conduct, and him being present today, again, January 30th, is entirely intentional conduct. This is the same coward. This is the pattern of conduct by the state. They engage in this conduct. I documented this same conduct inside of West Valley as well. They engage in symbolic threats. They engage in passive-aggressive threats while they are also engaged in monitoring. And it is all a part of the same criminal conduct as well. And so that's what I took video of because that is directly attributed to Mercy House. And in the same way that everything that Mercy House is doing as a third party is attributed to the state, acting in concert with that state. All right. And that is P.O.C. And I just wanted to make sure that I'm giving context with regard to the reason why I documented that video. I want to make sure that I get that that's criminal obstruction of justice upon federal group stalking and monitoring. All right. And that's what that third party group stalker is doing. And again, referencing the cameras on the security cameras at that venue and every other venue where all the same hallmarks remain and all elements always remain present. It's 1:03 p.m. The state stalking continuously. It's a psychopath. It's a sex offender and ongoing molestation as I walk from 435 South Bonview all the way back down the street. This is that which I've already documented. And so I was just getting a sample of third parties. And I just wanted to go ahead and might as well document third parties who are in my path as the state is engaged in what is that ongoing sexual violence. Understand third parties that engage in this stalking with activity, specifically at Dollar General. I want to mention that too. And the traffic cameras I referenced while I was there. Omnitrans engaged in systematic P.O.C. Understand it's group conduct. So while one third party, and this is the state, okay, that is acting in a particular vehicle whose license plate I happen to capture, and while the state speeds off in that vehicle and this impossible light, this light flashing all over the place, moving all over my body while they drive by, moving all over the asphalt and moving all over the building. And this is not an exaggeration. I've already shown this. While, mind you, the state's light source is also remaining directly above my head after remaining literally planted over 435 South Bonview. I've already shown all of this after remaining present while I'm at the museum and then remaining directly above me as I walk what is east and west, okay? This is P.O.C. And this is the ongoing significance of it. There is no third party. The people of the state of California are in no way escaping anything. First of all, there's more than one way to document. And second of all, third parties that I specifically name by license plate are merely a sample of the entire group. Okay? And they're acting on behalf of the same entity. So you have one that engages in driving by while this impossible light activity molests your person. It is group conduct. The third party that's sitting in their car in relevant position is touching with that one. And so it is, you have omnitrans engaging in systematic presence, stalking, engaging in criminal facilitation, engaging in sexual violence, engaging in criminal facilitation of that sexual violence, acting in concert with the state, all right? And that same legal analysis is present. Through omnitrans presence, the state is able to monitor me, and omnitrans sitting in relevant position while all manner of it's like a firework light show all over us, specifically as I'm walking down the street and standing writing license plates at campus and Holt Boulevard, just to give you an example. And so you've got them speeding past as though they're escaping something. And understand, it is with knowledge. These are psychopaths who are engaged in group presence because they're monitoring with the state. And so they're speeding past repeatedly. And this is also the absence of coincidence while all this light activity is occurring, which is never going to occur under a sun. Even if that was the sun that was directly over me at campus in Holt Boulevard, that light activity is not occurring at all. So this is the absence of coincidence. It is intentional presence. And while they are repeatedly engaging in ongoing repetition, so this is a sex offender. This is an exceedingly threatening stalker in the shoes of the government, intentionally touching over and over again with knowledge of your documentation, knowledge of your written word with regard to how that violates the person. All right. This is a whole other level of criminal threats by a sex offender. All right. It's tantamount to saying, no, I don't want to be a part of this orgy. And they're insisting that you are a part of this orgy as they touch you over and over again. That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what omnitrans is engaged in. All right. And I'm not going to mince words with that. That is the practical breakdown of the criminal conduct that they're engaged in. It is the same analysis for Ontario OVITT Family Library. All right. They're in relevant position. They are monitoring with that state while ongoing molestation with the state's light source remains here. Third party group stalkers using their vehicles as a means of audible activity that the state is amplifying. You're not hearing traffic all the way from Holt Boulevard over here. That's a psychopath. Acting in, that's called concerted conduct. While third parties with their children, with their dogs, are crossing paths under a fake sun. This is an entirely malicious system. It is rooted in Satanism. It is that which is highly demented conduct because they're monitoring for whatever reason. Who knows? But this is how you prosecute. And that's the sample of the third parties that I got. And that includes Omnitrans. That includes FedEx. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and recite the rest of those license plates. And that was walking from the museum to SCHIRO'S Liquor, 2435 South BONVIEW, that is Mercy House, back to, and I did stop at Dollar General referencing those security cameras because they're literally engaged in stalking as I walk through the parking lot. Group stalkers making sure they line the path, driving on the back street, making sure they keep me surrounded while the state's light source is above. It's P.O.C. That's what group stalking is, and I'm referencing those cameras. That is all a means of documentation while they are engaged in P.O.C., systematic, ongoing presence, stalking with activity and stalking with light, while all the state is always present, as I've already established that. These are the people on the ground, the state that is acting vicariously through these group stalkers. That's the focus of the documentation. And I also reference the cameras at Dollar General. That's what I want to focus on. And so from Mercy House back to Dollar General, documented those third parties, literally on camera, giving a real-time image of what is a psychopath that uses their vehicles, literally driving in circles, just revving his engine for no reason. This little prepubescent little boy, just a scrawny little thing, engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring using his burgundy-colored Jetta that is loud activity as I engage in standing stationary, writing down third parties, and as I go from the camera inside of that Dollar General to reference what is monitoring, that they're all engaged in inside of Dollar General, and they're all engaged in the parking lot and in the traffic, and that's what I pointed out to the camera, pointing out my presence, pointing out the significance of the proof of their presence in relevant position, because that's what that is. They can buy whatever they want. They're prosecuted for purposes of presence, and that's how the public entity monitors you, inside of Dollar General. And as I walk away from that camera, all of these third parties enter into the parking lot. Understand that's what group stalking is, making sure you're surrounded. And you don't have to use the same one. A new face comes in. So you have a whole bunch of new faces that enter the parking lot, and one of them in particular is this one, just revving his engine for absolutely no reason. it's audible activity under the state's light source, which is directly over Dollar General. I've already documented this. And I also document him again as he walks into the venue. Long line wrapped around. He didn't buy anything, walks in and out, goes into his car. And I also document him on the traffic cameras at HOLT and BONVIEW, speaking to an ongoing example of what all third parties do, stalking using any means. Him in particular, this little prepubescent little twig engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring, that which he is in no way prepared to face as far as the federal repercussions. But these are the cowards that feel amped up as a group, all right? This is the breaking down of that group. All right, this is the revealing of the false premises upon which this whole system relies on. This is the revealing of that which is the lack of any intelligent form whatsoever while they're engaged in what is monitoring, all right, and the federal prosecution under which none of them have any argument whatsoever because you are focusing on the substance, and substance are the elements. And so he's revving his engine under the state's light source, impossible light activity moving all across Dollar General while he's driving literally in circles, pacing in a vehicle, because that's what he's just pacing around in a vehicle, stalking with the rest of them who are sitting in their cars, remaining in relevant position, all right? I'm just giving you an example of that which I documented. And so that's a Dollar General, referencing the traffic cameras at Holt and Allen/Bonview, walking up down, ongoing molestation with impossible light activity, state's fake sun. I've already documented, come all the way down Holt Boulevard, back to SCHIRO'S Liquor, which I also referenced those cameras as well. State's fake sun remaining present, all right, just like it is in the evening, aiming light on the same video where the state is engaging in changing the color of its light source as it is over the exact same location at all times of the day. That is P.O.C. that I documented, and I'm going to go ahead and publish those license plates now. It's 1:12 p.m. I will publish those next. Okay, it is 1:34 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and recite the license plates of the third parties, which again, as I stated, represent a mere sample of what is the single group through which the public entity, the state of California, is engaged in ongoing perpetual presence, as the state is engaged in group stalking directly, planes, helicopters, police, fire, ambulance, and vicariously through the people of the state of California. These license plates are identification of merely those third parties who are capable of being identified as they are crossing path in front of me. Again, monitoring via communication devices spans a radius. This is massive monitoring that is ongoing, and the documentation of these third parties that are driving by, whose license plate I happen to capture, do not represent the totality. This is that which is the prosecution of the people of the state of California, the vicarious entity acting in concert and on behalf of that public entity that is necessarily monitoring through that group presence, which is the criminal cooperation between the people and the public entity for purposes of monitoring via communication devices, and that is in violation of existing federal law, which I need to correct myself with regard to my citation of federal law, existing federal law, that the state of California is in direct violation of. And I also, again, as I've continuously stated, that I advocate and have designed what is and what should be, what needs to be additional federal legislation to address a public entity's engagement in what is never addressed under federal law with regard to the totality of a criminal system where a public entity is monitoring American citizens and doing so through the people of that state, and understanding and the ways in which you prosecute what is an entirely malicious system designed not only to monitor but designed to engage in criminal obstruction of justice, which is to conceal and insulate that public entity from prosecution, from ever being exposed. It is in no way impervious to prosecution, and this is my documentation is not only the revealing of what is a public entity's group stalking system. It is also showing the criminal system in operation through its own venues, that is through the courts, through the police, through the jails, and also through the people of the state of California who are engaged in concerted effort to that end, all of them equally interested in keeping that criminal system concealed. And that is documentation of the entirety of that criminal operation. It is not just the monitoring aspect. Monitoring is constant. Monitoring is constant while you are kidnapped. Monitoring is constant while you are defamed. Monitoring is constant while you are engaging in any documentation at all times. You are talking about that ongoing system of which is P.O.C., which is criminal obstruction of justice by that same public entity acting both directly and vicariously, and that is serving the criminal purpose of silencing and oppressing that targeted individual who is in any way seeking to report, expose, or otherwise prosecute that public entity. And that is that which I have, I advocate, and that is systematic infliction of inhumane suffering, which is what the state is engaged in as it is engaged in criminal monitoring. All right. It is the ongoing systematic infliction of inhumane suffering, SIIS, which is that which I advocate for purposes of additional federal legislation, which is specifically designed to address every criminal and demonic, and you can exchange that word for what is demented and malicious. It is entirely malicious. This is how the state acts. It acts maliciously, using its resources through the government and through the people of the state of California to engage in that criminal monitoring system and to obstruct justice for prosecution of that public entity that is monitoring American citizens. With regard to existing federal legislation, it is not 18 U.S.C. Section 42A, as I have routinely cited. This is in violation of the correct law is 18 U.S.C. Section 2261, subsection A. And this is federal stalking. This is that which is in violation of federal law based on the state's means of and use of within the territory of the United States, engaging in what is stalking conduct, stalking directly and vicariously, as I have defined it, as I've documented it, and doing so via means of interstate commerce, which also includes the internet. It also includes communication devices. It is conduct which is intended to harass, to intimidate, to injure. This is the federal law. This is the definition of it. And this is all that the state is engaged in. And also engaging in conduct that is designed to place under surveillance with that same criminal intent to harass, to intimidate, to injure. And that which is inherent to the pattern of conduct of criminal monitoring, and they are doing so corporately via communication devices. This is also this is subsection A and B. All right. This is subsection B concentrates on the means of interstate commerce, such as the use of internet, which the state is using. Also, the use of the communication devices, the electronic means by which the state is monitoring you and doing so on a massive scale with the people of the state of California. And so this is all of that, which is also by the definition under the existing federal law, that which is reasonably to result in the result of that targeted individual suffering from emotional distress. But again, that is an inadequate assessment of what a public entity is engaged in, but this is that which the state is engaged in. It is in violation of that existing law, but this is also why I am stating further legislation is needed, much needed, and it is that which I have written and designed in order to address. It further exceeds. This is nothing with regard to mere emotional distress. This is that which far exceeds that, but it is within the legal parameters, the legal requirements under existing federal law, which is, again, 18 U.S.C. Section 2261, subsection A, both 1 and 2. And this is what the state of California is engaged in, and so this is the significance of the vicarious entity through which the public entity is monitoring me. And that's the significance of the third-party license plates, representing, again, only a sample. The people of the state of California is indiscriminate, meaning everywhere you go, this system is in operation. It is a government system. It's the state that is operating the system, and it acts seamlessly. It is engaged in constant motion wherever the target individual is at. So if I were to hop on a plane and go to San Francisco, I will be subject to the exact same P.O.C. The state is monitoring in California. And that is that which is seamlessly embedded into society. And so that these third parties are merely representing the people of the state. It is a sample of that criminal population that is monitoring on behalf of that state that is operating that criminal system. All right. And I will go ahead and recite license plates. It is 1:42 p.m. currently. 70KP 357. 6ZEM 881, 8BCX 298, 5FPU 479, 8BMU 974, 7R73149. This is 7VYX422, 6B15649, 1370395, which is Omnitrans. This is 7SGE903, 6BCK106. Excuse me, I'm trying to read my own handwriting. This is 6BCK106, yeah. This is 6STP041, 6TRH517, 4R98875, 6PDB619, so that's 6 Paul David Benjamin 619, 8MPJ801, and we've got 6FQB478. Again, that's license plate. In case you can't hear over the state that's stalking via aircraft over the library, 6FQB478. And you've got license plates 24031A1. Again, that's license plate 24031 Apple 1. And license 6NJB769. And I want to go ahead and cite third-party conduct. Again, this is no different. Every location where I'm at and I'm walking down the street, I am passing what are third-party venues, and they are all systematically monitoring. The state's light source is moving with me. It's over their venues. It's over the venue. It's over me where I am located because they are monitoring. It is a light source for purposes of criminal monitoring via communication devices. Okay, so this is indiscriminate with regard to being at Kegel's Appliances, to being at J&V Auto Accessories, okay, to being at Raoul's Auto Trim, to being at Dollar General, all right, to being across the street from U-Haul, who is monitoring. All of these third-party facilitating venues, they're all monitoring systematically as I'm walking down the street, okay? I am specifically mentioning what is Marin's Auto Electric, located at 313 South Bonview, and that's in Ontario, California, and the state's light source directly over me. Across the street from that venue is it looks as though it is a recycling center, and I did not see an address, but I want to go ahead. They were monitoring me in concert as I walked past. Third-party group stalker, an employee there, uses their vehicle outside of the venue as I cross path, closes the door. That's stalking with audible activity. This is what third parties do routinely. Wait until I am in their path, and they create any manner of noise. Or at nighttime, engaging in being in the path with light. All right, this is P.O.C. And as at Marin's Auto Electric, 313 South Bonview, the state flying over me while I'm at that venue. That's additional audible activity while the state's light source directly over me at that venue. Okay, it's moving with me, and third-party group stalkers sitting in their vehicle while the other third party uses their vehicle door in order to create audible activity. And this is license plate 8LGV961. The license plate 8F98739. The license plate of this Marin's Auto Electric. Of course, I don't know whose car that is. It's parked on that property. This is the vehicle that was used as a means of stalking with activity while the state's light source is directly over my head at this address, while the state is flying over my head at this address, while this third party is sitting in their car, ignition running, engaged in the same behavioral pattern of remaining in the path, while third parties and the state stalk with ongoing activity as I am in motion at any place. That is P.O.C. And I just want to mention that because I have made a lot of videos with regard to being on what is BONVIEW. BONVIEW, and there is video specifically that I've stated while the state is engaged in stalking using the train, and it causes that buildup of traffic. I've shown the videos where the state is stalking with light, where it is remaining all day long at 435 South BONVIEW, and I'm telling you, it does not go anywhere. And that evidence of that, the videos that I've shown, where the state's fake sun, its light source is piercing right over that recycle center. It is on my face as I'm aiming the camera in that direction. The state is stalking with light. It is not going anywhere. It merely changes the color. It is aiming light in the same direction, which is absolutely impossible. But for that to be the actual sun, that's not the sun. This is the state engaging in the same behavioral pattern. And so that recycle center is directly across the street. This is the nearest address. And so that's the significance of that as well. While they were also engaged in P.O.C, so I happen to document that too. All right, license plate 98584 Henry 2. And again, these are as I'm getting these while third parties are driving past, so they are substantially similar, as close to accuracy as I can possibly get. And again, these third parties are patrolling, meaning they are repeatedly crossing path. That's what patrolling is. And they are driving up and down what is BONVIEW, and they are going to the cameras, the traffic cameras that are right there at the tip of BONVIEW, at HOLT and BONVIEW. Dollar General parking lot is armed with surveillance cameras, and third-party group stalkers and the state that are desperate, pathetic cockroach criminals try to avoid documentation. There is no... Anyway, the entity is not escaping anything, but again, you're talking about a criminal that is a sex offender that is engaged in entirely threatening criminal conduct that does not want to be documented. So taking any back street possible in order to try to avoid that is also a possibility, but it really does, it's neither here nor there. These are substantially similar. And this is marking their presence, and this is they are engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring in concert with that state while I'm walking down the street to 435 South BONVIEW. Okay, so license plate 8274H1 and license 5T98652, license 7814 1J1, I believe. Take a good look to that. Take a good listen to that concession by the state directly convicting, incriminating what is the Ontario OVITT Family Library. This is literal plane activity through the central walking area, the walk place through the plaza. Okay, and that is P.O.C. And everything that the state does, like I said, is prefacing what third parties are doing, which is monitoring. Right, that's why you have plane activity over the walkway inside of this plaza while the state's fake sun, which is supposed to be over Mercy House, supposed to be over Stater Brothers, supposed to be over Panda Walk, supposed to be over the Coin Laundry, supposed to be over every other place. Reference my documentation, okay? Because this is not that. And this is why the state is concentrating its audible activity right now, and it directly incriminates every third party, including Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, who are monitoring right now to that audible activity. All right? That's P.O.C. Back to what I was saying. This is license plate 7814 1J1. It's substantially similar. I was writing them down while I'm writing. Okay, so license plate 8C2L340. Oh, by the way, it's 1:50 p.m. when that plane is flying directly over. And 8KGG455, license R68580. Oh, I'm sorry. License R685S0. That's what they are. At the Dollar General, just sitting in their car, pull up right in front of me, turn their headlights on as they park. And this is while I was using the little prepubescent, skinny little third-party group stalker using his Jetta to stalk with activity, just like third parties do routinely. He did so, and he provided an excellent illustration of what is criminal monitoring conduct on those cameras in the parking lot. And that is a group stalker that's sitting in their car, license R685S0, pulls up in front of me and turns on their headlights as they do so. 7WOY680, 27362F2, 8LPU938, Omnitrans 1302442. And again, Omnitrans in a relevant position as I am leaving the Dollar General, acting with every other third party, literally a light show inside of the Dollar General parking lot. State flying directly over Dollar General, directly incriminating Dollar General, every third party group stalker that I'm pointing out on camera, impossible light activity reaching to the heights of the top of that building while they are literally like cockroaches just driving around in circles, entering into the parking lot, maintaining presence. That's group stalking. All right. And that's why I call them cockroaches. That's what cockroaches do. And they're just doing so. You're looking at human beings that are engaging in cockroach conduct, but it's criminal. And it's also demonic, but it's equally disgusting. All right, so that is Omnitrans engaged in P.O.C. 1302442, crossing path, engaged in sexual molestation, touching with every other third-party group stalker. Understand that, all right? Omnitrans represents the people of the state of California. And this is 6ZJK199. License 7SCF926. License 5MTZ231, or substantially similar. I want to read that again. 5MTZ231. Now, again, this was a red Acura driven by a male. A little two-door hatchback red Acura. He comes from the back street as I am walking up. And walking up, by that I mean walking north on BONVIEW, approaching the Dollar General where I eventually cross the street. This third party in the hatchback red Acura driven by a male appears to be Caucasian, I believe, and he drives from what is the Emporia, and so he's driving east on Emporia and meets me in relevant position. All right, this is group stalking conduct. It's entirely intentional presence, and this is that which is repeated by all of them together. I'm just focusing on this one in particular, whose license plate I happen to get, or substantially similar license plate. He drives east on Emporia, meets me at the corner as I'm walking north on Bonview, and drives right up to the traffic cameras. So it is substantially similar to 5MTZ231. Substantially similar to that. Okay, so license plate 8LAS687, 7AJW007. Trying to read my own handwriting when I'm writing very quickly. Substantially similar to that. So again, 7AJW007 perhaps. 8ATL383. I believe I read that one already. So 7WEU102, 5KAZ479, 7GFK0V8, I believe, 8NAZ674, 6YNA401. And again, these in particular, while I'm at campus in HOLT, and this is while the third parties are just speeding by, just one after another, this is the stalker, right? Acting through, they are one group. They're just broken up into different cars. They are one group, just touching over and over and over again with impossible light, meaning light which is not occurring from the sun, which is not occurring while you are driving past, all right? And this is ongoing touching over and over and over again, all right? And this is at campus in HOLT where I'm running into that last license plate. For example, this is just a time marker. This is so you understand, because this is a means of documentation where I'm at, and the group that is present at that time. That's license 6YNA401. 5KAZ479, 7WEU102, 8NAZ674, touching with all the rest of them. Sexual violation, molestation, ongoing sexual violence. And that's what that is. You are stalking on behalf, you are intentionally present, you're intentionally crossing path under the incredible circumstance of a fake sun that is remaining above my head in every direction that I go, while what is also incredible, which is this impossible light activity, as I have termed it, because it is light activity that is not occurring even if that was the sun. It is engaging in molesting my entire person, moving all across the sidewalk, moving all over the buildings as they're driving by, ongoing flashing and sparking of lights like a light show. This is not a coincidence. They are intentionally engaging in that conduct. They are acting in concert. That's called concerted conduct. All right, and they are engaged in what is touching. You're touching with an instrument of criminal activity. That's your light activity while you're crossing path and intentionally doing so. That is a sexually violent criminal offense while you're group stalking with the government. All right, the government and the people of the state of California, represented by these who I'm identifying by license plate, engaged in that sexual violence together. They're in it wholeheartedly. All right, while they're just speeding past. Do you understand that level of sexual violence being touched over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? This is just a sample of license plates. Okay, I didn't turn on my cell phone and read those hundreds of license plates like I have before. I'm writing them down, okay? But this is routine. This is P.O.C, all right? And this is how you establish what is sexually perverted, sexually violent, molestation and touching, violation of the target individual, which is inherent to the pattern of conduct. Touching with light, surrounding with light, which is a violation of the person. No stalker shall touch in any manner, for any reason, especially not a government. And these people are in the shoes, they are in the position of the government. The government is monitoring through their person, through their presence. It's not a coincidence that they're driving by. This is what I'm saying. They are maintaining group presence, and while they're doing so, engaging in what is sexually violent conduct. And they are representing a sample of what the people of the state of California are engaged in corporately. All right? And that is while the state was doing exactly what you're hearing them doing right here in the background, stalking via aircraft and stalking with its light, like I've already shown in video. That's P.O.C. It is 8 P.O.F. 158. This is the third-party license plate that I also pointed out on the cameras at this venue at 435 South BONVIEW Mercy House while inside of the bathroom. And again, this third party is acting in concert with the rest of the third parties. This is just one that is in close quarters, right outside of the bathroom door, in alignment to me in the bathroom, all right? While they're aware in real time of what I am doing inside of the bathroom. So while you are physically indisposed, while your genitalia is exposed, and you make any abrupt movement, guess what the state is going to do? Guess what third parties do? While they are listening to you, aware of what you are doing in real time, they're stalking with activity. The state is stalking with its light. This is why on the opposite side of that building, the state's fake sun is on the opposite side of that bathroom door. Yet in the shade, my shadow is appearing on the door. So this is light being aimed onto the opposite side. The state is monitoring, aiming light, this group stalker in license plate 8 P.O.F. 158 in alignment to me at the bathroom door, on the cameras as well at 435 South BONVIEW. I also point this out while I'm inside of the bathroom, the state amplifying plane activity, and I immediately step out, pointing out the fact the state's light source is present, the state is flying over by plane, and you've got here a third-party group stalker in direct alignment to me inside of the bathroom. Doing what third parties are always doing. I am using one as an example. What the group is doing all together, all right? That is P.O.C. They're monitoring while they're driving up and down Washington, sitting in their cars on Washington, driving up and down BONVIEW, stalking with activity, all right? That's the demonic feature, all right? They are engaged in ongoing real-time knowledge of every single move, including when you're physically indisposed, inside of any private space, all right? Engaged in those criminal elements of monitoring, which understand is the equivalent of the physical touching of your person, of your genitalia, without your consent. In the same way that the state is molesting your person through the plethora, the multiplicity of faces without your consent, engaging in an ongoing orgy to which you did not invite them, to which you do not want to participate in. And that's what they're doing because they're monitoring you. This is sexually violent, predatorial, and perverted conduct. And this is what the state is engaged in. This is what the state is sanctioning. And the same thing with third parties. Sitting around in relevant position, intentional presence, intentional engagement in those criminal elements. And there is no argument whereby you can claim you're engaging in anything. It doesn't matter what paperwork you're signing at Mercy House. This is what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what you want to call your engagement in the criminal elements. It's proof of presence. That's federal prosecution, period. This is how a public entity monitors through the people of the state of California. All right. They're not going to wear ninja suits and sit around with weird computers looking like they're doing what I'm describing, looking like whatever monitoring looks like. Okay. They're engaged in that which is designed to maliciously and seamlessly occur in everyday life. And it is monitoring everywhere that you go, and they happen to be the same ongoing, systematic elements of criminal monitoring that also mirror what the target individual is doing. As I engage in any movement, any change in activity, right? Anything. They are stalking with activity. This is how you monitor, by the way. They have to maintain real-time knowledge of what you're doing when you're doing it in order to stalk with activity. And that is the behavioral pattern. And this is the government that's listening to you at all times. And this is the government through the people of the state of California. They're in the shoes of the government, listening to you at all times. Any bathroom that you're in, you have no privacy. This exceeds that which existing federal law terms as causing emotional distress. Do you understand that this is that which is accomplished not by an individual? This is what a public entity is engaged in. Surveillance with the intent to injure, harass, and intimidate, and engaging in what is criminal monitoring, stalking by the masses for that purpose, and it exceeds what is termed as reasonably to cause or result in emotional distress. This is systematic infliction of an inhumane level of suffering, and for a criminal purpose of monitoring via communication devices, necessarily occurring through the people of the state of California who maintain perpetual presence at all times in all places, inconspicuously and conspicuously. All right, that's the malicious design of the system. It is currently 2:03 p.m. and I think I have a few more license plates that I have to read. 8SOV 977, 7GWP 863, 6BIK 626, and Omnitrans license 1545862. License 8ESE 716. License EE151. And I'm not sure if I just read this one, 7GWP863, in case I did. All right, and those are just the ones that I scratched down. Again, like I've already stated, this is just a sample, and I thought I would just go ahead and include that since I did make a video today based on Mercy House threatening, and you make that threat and you engage in that ongoing symbolic threat. I mean, you want to get into the legal analysis. They are continuing a threat as they continue to monitor. And which is what they're doing while planes are flying over. You have all manner of threat that is underway. But you're talking about, I'm speaking specifically to what is a third-party group stalker monitoring with Mercy House. Mercy House is facilitating that monitoring conduct, and they are thus speaking on behalf of Mercy House, which this third party is monitoring with and in concert with. All of them acting in concert with the state. And so I did go ahead and document that third party's presence, speaking to what was ongoing P.O.C., all the hallmarks being present. You have the state's fake sun, as I've already documented, remaining directly over that venue the entire time that I was there, and remaining directly over me as I walk, and you see it in video here over at the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, which is called impossible light activity. Nothing of the sun whatsoever. This is monitoring conduct, and every word that you utter while you're monitoring is not only audible activity for purposes of monitoring, it is also criminal obstruction of justice. While you want to engage in threats as your means of audible activity, you're going to be prosecuted for that. All right, and so that is that which Mercy House engaged in, and I did document that. And so since I documented that, you have the state also engaging in the ongoing conduct as I walk to and from that venue. So I went on ahead and documented, why not get more third-party group stalkers? I have thoroughly prosecuted the people of the state of California. This is documentation of that, and this is, again, the correct federal law, which I will go ahead and make expansive correction to that, which is 18 U.S.C. section 2261 subsection A. All right. And that is, again, the ongoing threat by the state. All right. So I have gone into legal analysis, but not too much, mostly focused on P.O.C. A public entity is engagement in criminal P.O.C. for monitoring is a threat. You have the state that's threatening right now using its sirens, the state that's threatening engaging in ongoing plane sounding over my head, the state that is stalking with molesting with light, remaining present with us. All of this is a communication of a threat. You're talking about a government that's doing so, that's monitoring an American citizen, and then acting through the multiplicity of faces that are the people of that state. That is an unprecedented level of a threat. All right. That is very much in violation of 2261 subsection A. That is engaging in that which is intended to injure, harass, intimidate, place under surveillance with that same criminal intent to injure, harass, intimidate. And that which is also going to reasonably result in what is emotional distress. Now, again, that's existing federal law, which the state is engaged in ongoing, ceaseless violation of that. The state engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. That's what that is. All right. Violation of 18 U.S.C. section 2261 subsection A, subsections 1 and 2. But you also have that which I advocate, which is SIIS federal legislation, which is designed to more precisely prosecute that public entity that is engaged in that systematic threat waged against an American citizen while it's monitoring you. All right. And that which federal legislation has never addressed, because it exceeds what is emotional distress. The ordinary targeted individual being approached with this level of threat by a government acting through the people all around you, while it's intended to engage in what is defaming you, while it is the psychopath that's engaged in sexual violence, that's engaged in stalking, that's engaged in monitoring. All right. Okay, that is that which SIIS is specifically designed to address. All right, it's 2:08 p.m. and that is P.O.C. All right, it is January 30th, 2021. It's 5:13 p.m. I'm just making a quick note as to third-party facilitating venue, Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, engaged in real-time monitoring right now as I am inside of the venue, engaged in ceaseless P.O.C. while I'm at Ontario Town Square, while I'm sitting outside in the shaded area, while I'm sitting at the bench, while I'm sitting outside of the venue, be under the shaded area. This is P.O.C. while I'm inside, and I just want to be clear at around 5:12 p.m. I did get up on the security cameras inside of the venue, and I do this on purpose. This is documentation of what is criminal obstruction of justice by this third-party facilitating venue that is monitoring via communication devices in concert with the state and on behalf of that state. What you have is the third party that is engaged in, this is a pattern now, they engage in this often while I'm inside and also while outside, turning off their Wi-Fi in order to block access. As, by the way, I am posting a series of videos that includes their venue in particular, and also the ongoing stalking conduct by helicopter. This is specifically what I posted online with regard to the state stalking by helicopter on October 2nd. It is on the face of my YouTube page. This is the type of documentation that the state and third parties acting in concert with that state seek to block. This is called criminal obstruction of justice while you are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring in violation of current legislation, which is federal law 18 U.S.C. section 2261, subsection A, 1 and 2, and that which is also designed to prosecute such criminal conduct. This is how third parties in the state act, and engaging in turning off the Ontario City Wi-Fi while I'm at Ontario Town Square. That is routine. That's a pattern by the state. Engaging criminal obstruction of justice. That's what Ontario OVITT Family Community Library is doing. And also while I'm on camera, speaking to them, asking them a question that I already know the answer to. They're engaged in P.O.C, turning off the Wi-Fi while they are still open. This is for purposes of blocking access to internet, which also understand when the government is monitoring you, this poses a direct threat to your very physical safety, your livelihood, your life. Okay, they are monitoring and seeking to block your ability to publish that criminal activity that poses a threat to your life. All right, that is how extreme it is. That is exactly how federal law operates, and they are engaging in that criminal conduct while they're monitoring, seeking to obstruct the ability to publish that criminal activity. And on camera, what you'll see is the third-party group stalker pushing what is a very loud cart on the hard floor near the circulation desk. That's audible activity in relevant position, while the third parties who are engaged in P.O.C. are holding their phones as though they are perplexed as to why the internet is not, I'm sorry, not the internet, but the Wi-Fi network is not malfunctioning. It is unavailable, meaning all you have to do is take the network and make it invisible, if you will, so that people cannot log onto it. And that's what they do. That's what they did. This is not rocket science, and the state does this. Third parties then the library is acting in the shoes of the state that's monitoring and facilitating that monitoring conduct by third-party group stalkers who are on computers, who are entering and exiting the venue. And this is P.O.C. It's currently 5:16 p.m. and I just wanted to note that's criminal obstruction of justice while this library is engaged in ongoing monitoring, and this is a specific pattern with regard to blocking internet access. This is also not unique to the library. Third parties such as Economy N engaged in this same conduct, blocking internet access while I am engaged in publishing documentation of criminal activity that poses a direct threat to the life, the physical safety, the overall well-being of the targeted individual while the state is engaged in criminal monitoring. That is a serious federal offense, and this is documentation of that. While also you'll see on the security cameras, it's P.O.C. I get up and I walk over there. They're stalking with activity. They are engaged in use of communication devices, all in relevant position, which you'll see. She's sitting at the desk. She's got her little iPad or screen in relevant position while I'm sitting on the computer. They continuously surround with activity using the patrons instead of stalking with loud door closures. Today it's the patrons that just stand around talking on. It's P.O.C. All right, and it is ongoing pattern of conduct. It's currently 5:17 p.m. And that is P.O.C. at Ontario OVITT Family Community Library.